Millions of high school students will be tossing and turning tonight thinking about tomorrow's SAT test. Since 2005, that college entrance exam has included an essay section to measure writing skills. But one young test taker says he's cracked the code, figured out a simple step to game the system and get a higher score. Elizabeth Leamy investigated, and she's live with us from an SAT test site in Washington this morning. Hey, Elizabeth.
Hey, George. The student study contends that if you write a longer SAT essay, you will get a higher SAT score, regardless of the content of the essay. But that's not the most surprising thing about the study. The most surprising thing is that this study was conducted by a 14-year-old high school student who's in the process of taking the SATs himself.
14-year-old Milo Beckman has taken the SAT twice. The second time, he improved his score on the essay. Most students would be thrilled, but Milo was annoyed because he felt his second essay was inferior.
I looked up one of the facts I had used in the essay, which I wasn't completely sure of, and it turns out that I had basically blatantly lied in the essay.
Milo says the second essay did have one thing going for it. It was longer.
My hypothesis is that longer essays on the SAT essay component score higher.
So he launched a study, asking his fellow students at New York City's Stuyvesant High School to count how many lines they had written on their essays and to provide their scores.
I thought, oh, this ought to be interesting, and I've always wondered about this too.
This was actually something that was directly related to the SAT itself and questioning the means by which, we were being graded.
Milo says out of 115 samples, longer essays almost always garnered higher scores.
The probability that such a strong correlation would happen by chance is 10 to the negative 18th, basically 0.
Turns out there is some very grown-up support for Milo's conclusion.
The more you write, the higher the score.
MIT writing director Les Perlman found he could predict an SAT essay's score 90% of the time just by looking at the length.
Milo's findings are exciting to me for the reason that any researcher is excited when somebody else takes their research and replicates it, because it confirms my research.
Milo also tried to address the possibility that smarter students simply write more and thus score higher. How? By comparing the scores of students who have taken the SAT more than once.
Every single one of them got a higher or equal score on their longer essay. Not a single one got a worse score on their longer essay.
Milo's advice: for a higher score, write more.
The College Board, creator of the SAT essay, said it admires Milo's diligence but disagrees with his findings. The board explains that essays sometimes garner better scores if they're longer, not just because of the length, but because, quote, it's very common for longer writing samples to more effectively convey nuanced, persuasive arguments. The College Board also said that of all the sections on the SAT, the essay portion is the most predictive of college success, George.
Okay, Eli, that may all be true, but I'll bet you a lot of students are going to try to write a lot more tomorrow.
Yes.
We have more tips on how to get a higher SAT score on our website at abcnews.com/GMA.